If someone keeps showing you a beautiful future, but keeps billing you in the present, pause. You may not be hearing a plan. You may be watching tomorrow used as a credit card with your name on it. Lesson 10, the future faking trap. This is when someone paints a vivid tomorrow to get access, patience, labor, loyalty, money, forgiveness, or commitment from you today without giving matching evidence in real life. Tiny important footnote, wearing tiny serious shoes. Not every plan that fails is manipulation. People dream, budgets change, health changes, life trips over furniture. Future faking is not a broken plan. It is a repeated promise used to move your boundaries before proof appears. By the end, you will have a 3-question test. It is simple enough to remember during a romantic speech, a family guilt ceremony, or a business pitch with suspiciously warm lighting. Promise, proof, price. Keep those 3 words in your pocket. Case File 1, the ring. The future sounds beautiful. We will get married. We will have a home. We will be different from everyone else. Maybe that is sincere, but if the ring-shaped speech always arrives right before you ask for respect, watch carefully. The loop is elegant in the worst way. They promise a future, you soften a boundary, they receive the benefit, proof does not arrive. You ask again, and another future gets delivered like a shiny invoice with perfume on it. Your brain loves a trailer. Give it music, soft lighting, a title card, and one confident person whispering soon, and suddenly a future that does not exist starts feeling emotionally real. The nervous system can rent an apartment inside a preview. Case File 2, the keys. We will buy a house. We will build a life. We will finally be stable. Lovely. Now ask the boring question Dr. Wiggle keeps in a drawer. What step happened this month that moves us 1 inch closer? First warning sign. The future appears exactly when accountability arrives. You ask about the lie, the debt, the disrespect, the missing follow-through, and suddenly you are touring a mansion in the clouds with velvet curtains and no plumbing. Second warning sign, the promise grows larger when the evidence gets smaller. A healthy plan becomes more specific over time. A fake future becomes more dramatic, more emotional, and somehow still allergic to calendars, receipts, and boring next steps. Case File 3, the map. We will travel. We will start over. We will disappear into a better version of us. Fine. But if every destination is used to avoid the conversation at home, the trip is not a plan. It is a smoke screen with luggage. Future faking always has a price tag. The price may be your patience. It may be your silence. It may be another loan, another apology, another month of doing emotional bookkeeping for a person who keeps paying in fireworks. In dating, it can sound like, I have never felt this before, you are my person, I already know we are meant to be. That might be romance. It might also be someone asking your caution to leave the room before the furniture has been inspected. Case File 4, the apology table. I will change. I will go to therapy. I will never do that again. Beautiful sentence. Now we ask, what appointment, what repair, what changed routine, what measurable behavior exists after the speech leaves the room? At work, future faking often wears a badge. Stay late now and the promotion is coming. Accept the impossible load and leadership will notice. Keep rescuing the department and one day the invisible ladder will descend from the ceiling, humming politely. Case File 5, the handshake. We are partners. We are building something big. You will be taken care of later. Listen for later. Later can be a real date. Later can also be a velvet trapdoor under your unpaid labor. In families, it can sound like, after this difficult season, everything will be different. I will respect your boundaries soon. We will finally talk honestly one day. The phrase one day is not evil, but it becomes suspicious when it replaces today again and again. With money, future faking gets very polished. Invest now. Loan me this. Cover the bill today. When the big thing happens, you will be repaid. Notice how the imagined future has exact emotional colors, while the repayment plan is fog wearing a necktie. Case File 6, the document. A real agreement loves details. Amounts, dates, responsibilities, consequences, signatures. A fake future often hates paperwork because paperwork has the rude habit of remembering what everyone said after the mood lighting turns off. Let us reset. Future faking is not enthusiasm. It is not hope. It is not a dream. It is when the dream keeps being used as currency while the present keeps charging you interest. That is the center of the trap. It hooks you because the promised future may contain the exact thing you needed. Safety, love, recognition, stability, repair, a place to rest. The future is powerful because it speaks to hunger, and hunger can make a cardboard sandwich look dramatic. Case File 7, the gift. Grand gestures can be kind. They can also be decorative fog. If a present arrives instead of accountability, enjoy the ribbon if you want, but do not let the ribbon tie your mouth shut. Here is the difference between atmosphere and evidence. Atmosphere sounds intense. Evidence leaves a footprint. Atmosphere says soon. Evidence says Tuesday at 4. Atmosphere says trust me. Evidence says here is the confirmation number. Case File 8, the calendar. A sincere plan usually makes friends with the calendar. A fake future avoids it like the calendar owes it money. When every date becomes later next month after things settle or you know how life is, the calendar is speaking. Now the test. Question 1. What is the promise? Write it in one sentence. If the promise cannot be written clearly, you are not holding a plan. You are holding emotional smoke in a hat. Question 2. What proof exists today? Not chemistry, not intensity, not a 10-minute speech with tragic eyebrows. Proof. A booked appointment, a changed habit, a saved amount, a signed agreement, a calendar invite, a repeated action. Question 3. What am I being asked to pay before proof arrives? Time, sex, money, secrecy, forgiveness, reputation, unpaid work, another chance, another silence. The price tells you what the future is being used to buy. Case File 9, the unfinished building. The structure started, the story sounded grand, then everything froze. This is what repeated future faking feels like inside a person. Scaffolding everywhere, dust in the lungs, and still someone keeps selling tour. A kind plan does not need you to abandon yourself while it matures. It can tolerate questions. It can tolerate pace. It can tolerate your nervous system asking, "Excuse me, where exactly are we going and who packed this suitcase?" A dangerous promise often gets angry at proof. Ask for dates and you are cold. Ask for numbers and you are materialistic. Ask for changed behavior and you are negative. Translation: the promise wants the authority of evidence without doing evidence's job. Case File 10, the road. A future is a direction, not a drug. If the road is real, there are mile markers. If there are no mile markers, no map, no fuel, and no driver, perhaps you are not on a journey. Perhaps you are in wallpaper. Romance script. I like imagining that future with you, and I need to see steady behavior in the present. Say it calmly, not as a trial, not as a threat, more like placing a small lamp on the table and watching what it reveals. Money script: I do not lend or invest based on future promises without dates, written terms, and a repayment plan. If that ruins the mood, excellent. Some moods deserve to be ruined before they get access to your bank account. Case File 11, the planning table. This is what evidence can look like. Notes, numbers, dates, shared responsibility. Maybe still imperfect because humans are delightfully inconvenient, but real planning produces artifacts you can point to without needing a fog machine. Work script: I'm happy to discuss future growth. For today, what title, pay, timeline, and decision maker are attached to this extra responsibility? Watch the room. A real path can answer. A fantasy path suddenly needs a smoke break. Case File 12, the pitch. The future is always bigger inside a sales pitch. Bigger results, bigger freedom, bigger status, bigger smile. A healthy offer can survive comparison. A manipulative pitch needs your imagination to sprint ahead of your questions. Family script: I hope things improve too. I am going to respond to what is happening now, not what might happen someday. This sentence is not cruel. It is reality politely putting on a hat. Small proof beats giant promise. One paid bill beats a speech about prosperity. One sober conversation beats a speech about honesty. One kept appointment beats a speech about healing. Tiny evidence is not boring. Tiny evidence is the brick road out of confusion. Here is the fog meter. Vague language, no dates, no shared effort, emotional pressure, and punishment when you ask for specifics. When all five appear together, the meter is not being dramatic. It is doing its tiny, honest job. Return to the ring for a second. Commitment is not the problem. Commitment is beautiful when it is mutual and grounded. The problem is using the symbol of commitment to avoid the behavior of commitment. Jewelry can sparkle. Patterns still speak. Watch the timeline. Does the promise move closer over time, or does it stay exactly the same distance away, like a stage backdrop someone keeps carrying behind them? A real plan changes shape as it enters reality. You can ask for timelines without becoming controlling. Try, what would be a realistic next step by the end of this month? That question is small, practical, and terribly rude to magical thinking. Dr. Wiggle supports this level of rudeness. The calendar does not need romance. It needs placement. If someone says, I will start next week, ask what day. If they say soon, ask what must happen first. If they get offended, the calendar just found a pressure plate. Healthy future talk is mutual. Both people can shape it. Both people can slow it down. Both people can say, that part scares me, or that timeline is unrealistic. Future faking is often one person projecting a movie and asking you to clap. Return to the house keys. A shared home is not just an image. It is rent, credit, cleaning, conflict, repairs, groceries, sleep, privacy, and who takes out the trash when both people are tired. Real futures have chores. Fake futures mostly have lighting. The hardest part is admitting you may want the promised future badly. That does not make you foolish. It makes you human. The solution is not to stop wanting love, safety, or repair. The solution is to stop paying before evidence arrives. Shame keeps people inside future faking. You think, I already believed them twice, so leaving now means I was wrong. No, leaving now means your new evidence has arrived. Changing your mind when facts change is not weakness, it is maintenance. Look again at the unfinished structure. You can respect what someone wanted to build and still stop living inside the construction dust. Compassion does not require you to inhale debris forever because the blueprint once looked pretty. Boundary 1, I am open to the future, and I am not making present decisions from promises alone. This is elegant because it does not argue with the dream. It simply refuses to let the dream drive your car without a license. Boundary 2, I need to see this consistently for a while before I commit more. For a while is allowed. Your life is not a vending machine where one grand speech drops commitment into the tray. The document returns because it is useful. Not everything needs a contract, of course. Please do not make your friend sign a notarized agreement about brunch. But serious promises about money, housing, work, or repayment deserve written clarity. Boundary 3, I cannot keep discussing the same future unless something changes in the present. This is where the room gets quiet. Good. Quiet is sometimes the sound of reality taking off its coat. Use the difference chart. Sincere plan, specific, mutual, paced, trackable, humble, future fake, vague, intense, one-sided, urgent, offended by questions. If the promise needs your silence to stay beautiful, that beauty is probably rented. The map returns because maps are honest when used correctly. They show distance, they show routes, they show obstacles. A manipulative promise hides distance and sells arrival. A healthy promise can say, this is far and here is how we walk. Watch your body. Future faking often creates a strange combination: hope, pressure, guilt, urgency, and fear of losing the dream if you slow down. That mixture is not destiny. It is a dashboard light asking you to inspect the promise. Ask who benefits if I believe the future right now. Do they get my labor, my money, my body, my silence, my reputation, my forgiveness? If belief immediately benefits them and costs you, slow the little theater down. The handshake can be honorable. It can also be a costume for details that never arrive. If the deal is real, it can handle a follow-up email. If the deal collapses under one written summary, it was already made of powdered confidence. Now watch what happens when you delay. Healthy people may feel disappointed, but they stay coherent. A future faker may escalate the dream, punish the pause, accuse your doubt, or suddenly act as if your request for proof kicked a piano. Return to the apology table. A repair promise is only the beginning. The real question is whether the person becomes easier to trust over ordinary Tuesdays, not whether they can perform sincerity under emotional stage lights. If you are already in the trap, start with inventory. What promises have been repeated? What has changed? What have you paid? What did you stop asking because the future sounded so beautiful? Put it on paper. Paper is less hypnotized than you are. Step 2, choose one present boundary, not a life manifesto. One boundary. No more money until repayment begins. No more moving in until stability exists. No more forgiving the same harm without a changed pattern. One clear line can interrupt a very large illusion. Step 3, tell someone outside the spell. A trusted friend, therapist, mentor, or your own written notes from a calmer day. Future faking gets stronger in isolation because nobody outside the movie is asking where the budget went. The road is still there. You do not have to give up on a future. You only have to stop confusing a painted road with a drivable one. A real future has friction, steps, repairs, and choices made when nobody is performing. A painful truth, future faking can make you distrust your own hope. Please do not let it have that trophy. Hope is not the problem. Unverified promises are the problem. Your ability to imagine better things deserves protection, not punishment. A common move is the trust accusation. You ask for proof and they say, "So you do not trust me." That sentence tries to make your need for evidence look like a character flaw, but trust is not the absence of questions. Trust is built by answers that survive questions. Proof does not kill love. Proof protects love from theater. If a person wants a real future with you, evidence is not an insult. It is the bridge. The only promises that fear bridges are the ones that were planning to remain dramatic clouds. Look again at the gift. The question is not whether the gesture is nice. The question is what it replaces. If it replaces a changed behavior, it is decoration. If it follows changed behavior, it can be kindness. Order matters. Ribbon after repair feels different from ribbon instead of repair. Do not turn every conversation into a courtroom. You are not trying to prove someone evil. You are trying to locate reality. Ask for one current action, one date, one boundary, one repair. The calmer you stay, the harder it is for fog to pretend it is weather. Watch for the topic jump. You ask about rent and suddenly you are discussing loyalty. You ask about therapy and suddenly you are defending your tone. You ask about the broken promise and suddenly you are on trial. The jump is information. It tells you where the promise cannot stand. The planning table returns because shared plans have shared labor. If one person gets the dream and the other person gets the work, that is not partnership. That is a beautiful poster hung above a very uneven floor. Loneliness can make future faking louder. When you are starving for certainty, a detailed tomorrow can feel like food. Be gentle with yourself here. The answer is not self-contempt. The answer is a slower room, a written list, and one trusted outside voice. Compare the promise with the past. Have similar words appeared before? Did they produce action, or did they produce another season of waiting? The past is not a prison, but it is a witness. Invite it into the room before you sign emotional paperwork. For money, add a cooling period. No loans, investments, shared accounts, or financial rescues during a promised storm. Future talk is not collateral. If the plan is solid, it can sit on the table overnight without evaporating into offended mist. The house returns for one more boring miracle: budgets. A real home plan can discuss numbers without collapsing. Rent, savings, debt, chores, timelines, legal details. Future faking often skips the math because math has very little patience for violins. At work, send the summary. Thank you for discussing a future promotion. I understand the next review date is this, the criteria are these, and the decision maker is this person. A sincere path may appreciate clarity. A fake path suddenly discovers allergies to email. When you ask for proof, it may feel like you are risking the dream. Try this reframe: you are not destroying the future. You are testing whether the builder brought tools. A future that vanishes when measured was already practicing invisibility. The pitch returns because speed is its favorite cologne. Decide while excited. Commit while dazzled. Buy while imagining the future version of yourself. A real offer survives daylight, comparison, a second opinion, and one cup of coffee without theatrical urgency. Repair has a sequence. Name the harm, own the impact, change the behavior, repeat long enough to rebuild trust. Future faking often skips straight to the final scene where everyone is happy. Dr. Wiggle regrets to inform the theater that scenes 1 through 4 still exist. A safe person may dislike your boundary. That is allowed. Disappointment is human. The important part is coherence. Can they keep talking respectfully? Can they answer specifics? Can they tolerate your pace? If yes, maybe you are negotiating reality, not wrestling smoke. An unsafe promise punishes the pause. It withdraws affection, adds shame, raises the stakes, rewrites history, or makes you responsible for the dream collapsing. That punishment is data. It means your hesitation did not break the future. It exposed the mechanism. The apology table returns because repair needs aftercare. How will this be handled next time? What changes tomorrow morning? What help is being sought? Who owns the repair when the emotional music stops? A real apology has a life after the speech. Build your rule before the next promise storm. For example, I do not increase commitment without 30 days of consistent behavior. Or, I do not lend money without written terms. Rules are not cold. Rules are handrails for moments when hope gets very loud. You do not need cruelty to escape future faking. You do not need a dramatic exit line. Clarity is enough. I hope that happens, and I am choosing based on what exists now. That sentence is a clean little door. You may walk through it. The road returns because the metaphor is useful and frankly it has excellent posture. Roads do not move by speeches. They move when someone walks, pays, repairs, shows up, sends the email, keeps the appointment, and repeats it when no one is applauding. You may miss them while still seeing the pattern clearly. Missing someone is not evidence that the promise is becoming real. It is evidence that attachment exists. Attachment can be honored without letting it become the judge, jury, and confused little accountant of your future. Audit the dream itself. Which parts did you genuinely choose, and which parts were handed to you during high emotion? Sometimes the promised future is not even your dream. It is their dream wearing your longing like a borrowed coat. Set a calm clock. 30 days, 90 days, one review date. The timeline is not punishment, it is observation. A future that is real will leave small tracks over time. A future that is fake will mostly leave speeches, apologies, and dramatic weather. Imagine an evidence bank. Every kept promise is a deposit. Every specific repair is a deposit. Every repeated dodge is a withdrawal. Do not balance the account by counting speeches as cash. A beautiful sentence can be worth hearing and still be worth exactly $0 in the bank. Ask a calm witness what they see, not the person selling the future. Someone outside the emotional weather. Say, here are the promises, here are the actions, here is what I keep paying. What pattern do you see? Outside eyes can be annoyingly useful. When a future is real, parts of it become boring. Calendar entries, follow-ups, budget lines, repeated behavior. Boring is underrated. Boring is how the dream survives contact with rent, tired mornings, paperwork, and the uncinematic miracle of doing what you said. Finally, give yourself permission to wait. A real future can breathe. A real relationship can tolerate pace. A real opportunity can survive a reasonable pause. If the promise dies because you asked for evidence, you did not kill it. You discovered it was already theatrical smoke. Final checklist. Write the promise, locate the proof, name the price, set the timeline, watch the reaction. If they respect the process, maybe the future has roots. If they attack the process, the promise may have been bait. So here is the diagnosis from Dr. Wiggle. A future is not fake because it is uncertain. A future becomes dangerous when someone uses it to collect payment from you while refusing to build anything you can stand on. Your one-sentence boundary: I am open to that future, and I need present evidence before I give more. Subscribe for the next lesson, The Love-Bombing Hangover, where the sugar rush ends and the bill arrives wearing a smile.